Park as we're getting ready for our first race of the weekend for the Formula Regional Americas Championship. Welcome aboard. My name's John Phippen, commentating for you guys this weekend as we're going to bring you the first of 3 races this weekend for Formula Regional Americas. We've got 9 cars on the grid making their way around. Let's introduce the starters to you. Starting alone in row number 5, in 9th position is the number 25 of Rico Slauman from Los Angeles, California. Rico drives for the Crosslink Kiwi Motorsports team. Rico raced with us a lot of years ago in Formula 4 and has taken some time off and back with us in the Formula Regional Americas Championship. Outside of row 4 in 8th position is car number 6, Nicola Verda from Courtenay, Canada. She's sponsored by Valley Kitchens and Colonial Countertops. She races for the powerhouse Crosslink Kiwi Motorsports team. Next to her is the number 77 of James Lawley from Halifax, Canada. He's sponsored by Cartbahn Racing, and he races for the Atlantic Racing team. Moving up into row 3, car number 73, Landon Matriano Lim from Shreveport, Louisiana. He's sponsored by 739 Racing, also for Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport. Next to him is the number 22 of Hayden Bowlesby from Folsom, Louisiana. Hayden, a 20-year-old, driving for the IGY6 Motorsports team, our most experienced driver in his 6th year of competition with us. Moving forward into row number 2 on the outside, the 02 of Jet Bowling from Dallas, Texas, another driver from Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport. Jess, a 19-year-old, qualified outside of row 2. Next to him, in the number 55, although he lives in Davenport, Florida, he's a native of Santiago, Chile. That's Nico Ambiato for the Velox USA Speed Factory team, sponsored by T-Link and Allegro. And now into the front 2 rows, the gentleman who commentated with us in the first race of the weekend, the number 31 of Titus Sherlock from Prosper, Texas, for Crosslink Kiwi Motorsports. Titus, currently 5th in the points championship. He's got some ground to make up after missing the races at Mid-Ohio. And your pole sitter and 2nd in the points championship, car number 27, Patrick Woods-Toth out of Saint-Lazare, Quebec, Canada, for Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport. He is the reigning US F4 champion and has stepped up to the FR championship and in a position this weekend to perhaps retake the points lead. 2 of his teammates alongside me in the commentary booth, KK Hawanio and Brad Madgman, who were the top 2 finishers on the podium in the Ligier JSF4 race earlier this afternoon. In fact, Brad, congratulations on your first win.
Thanks, you.
As we wait for the lights to begin, the rev limiters are in play. Everybody is away safely. Oh, trouble for Slauman.
Titus gets a good shot, good start there, though.
Yeah,
on the outside.
Looks like Titus is going to try to take the lead, and he's going to get it done. So Woods-Toth, of course, had a pretty substantial incident in qualifying, knocked the front nose off of that car, some damage to the left front suspension. So Patrick's first time in the car after the crew has made those repairs. Got to give him a little bit of pause, but Titus Sherlock gets a great start, as he has all season long. Right now, Woods-Toth back into 2nd. Looks like Jet Bowling slotted into 3rd as they're working their way through turn 4. Woods-Toth anxious to get back to the front now. As you can see, just behind them, Nico Ambiato in that orange number 55. Just behind Jet Bowling. As they work their way through turn 5 and 6. Now down into turn 7. Titus Sherlock with the advantage. Working his way out of that long decreasing radius series from 7, 8, and 9. Now turn 10, a sharp left-hander, and now through a little section of the track they call the Snake, which leads them onto the front straightaway and the end of the first lap. Under the drive-over bridge into the infield, Titus Sherlock at the point. Right behind him, Patrick Woods-Toth, then Jet Bowling, then Nico Ambiato. Hayden Bowlesby in 5th, Nicola Verda in 6th, Landon Matriano Lim in 7th, James Lawley and Rico Slauman, who had a stall at the start, was able to recover and get back into contention. Titus opened up a little bit of a gap. I don't know if either of you drivers have driven this car, but it's obviously a little harder to follow closely with the FR car than it is in the car you guys raced recently.
Yeah, there's a lot of dirty air coming off the back of these because of how much downforce there is off the wings, so it's quite difficult to follow. It seems like everyone's got a couple car length gap between everyone right now. quite early for that, but
yeah, that's kind of what we see when we follow the FR racing. Is you've got to be think ahead just a little bit more, be a little more selective about where you make your passing maneuver. It's not just a matter of getting right on the guy's gearbox and forcing a mistake. You have to be, think ahead just a little bit further.
Yeah, especially very prevalent at this type of track where it is quite high spin. You do need the aero to suck the car to the ground. Then, like, it was also quite bad at a track like Mid-Ohio, like, especially at the front. It was pretty much whoever got in front in lap 1 pretty much maintained a 2-3 car length gap, even if they were quicker by a couple tenths.
Makes me wonder, after Patrick had that incident in qualifying, just leading up to this race, does that make you a little gun shy if you have that kind of incident? Are you a little more tentative if you get back in the car after it's just been rebuilt?
I mean, I think that's all about how it looks like we have one around. Nicole Verda.
Yeah, Nicole has spun right there at turn 2. But she's kept it off the barrier, and she's going to be able to rejoin, but she'll be all the way at the back. Meanwhile, the battle for 3rd and 4th is a good one between Jet Bowling and Nico Ambiato. Ambiato in the orange car just behind. Jet just in front. As right now, it's a top 3 from Crosslink Kiwi. With Nico, of course, driving for the Speed Factory. Velox USA Speed Factory. I guess it's a partnership, I should say. It's a good battle. Jet and Nico nose to tail in that battle for the final step on the podium. As Titus beginning to stretch his legs just a little bit, but it's a long race. We've got 30 minutes of racing to go here. So plenty of time as they cross the line. Patrick Woods-Toth sets the fast lap of the race with a 15.8. Titus Sherlock at a 15.855, so just about a second separating the two of them.
And Ambiato's just made a move for 3rd place on Bowling on the inside of turn 1.
Yep, got the job done, did Nico. As the Chilean takes over that 3rd spot. As they work their way through the chicane there at turn 3. That's been another problem spot. Turn 3, we've seen a lot of cars go off, especially off driver's right through turn 3. Is it the curbs again that is creating the issues?
On the entry to the chicane, how to be fast through there, you have to put your tires very close to the dirt on the curb, and a lot of times dirt flies up and then the cars behind have to go through that, which causes them to slide or have to slow up more for the left part of the chicane.
Yeah, gotcha, exactly. Titus was commenting with me on your guys' race, and he was mentioning that the curbs are really something you have to watch, especially through turns 1 and 2. If you get up on the curb even just a little over more than you would regularly do, you got trouble.
Yeah,
because it unsettles the car.
Yeah, the outside curbs in 1 and 2, with how low we run these, how low they are, you bottom out and then you can't turn. That's what happened to Patrick in the qualifying session.
Yeah, your car kind of becomes a surfboard at that point. Basically, the skid plate is riding on top of the curbing, and you got no contact with the ground at all.
Yeah, and especially because the turning point for turn 2 is pretty much
blind.
Yeah, well, A, it's blind, but B, you've still got half a car on the curb, so if you make a mistake in turn 1, it can bite you for pretty much half the lap until you really get to turn 4 and 5 before you can have your first real braking zone of the lap.
Landon Montrellano Lim in the 73, currently running in the 6th spot. Jet Bowling back in the 4th now after Ambiato got it done. Let's see if Ambiato's got anything for Patrick. As after he was finally able to get around Jet Bowling, he's opened up a pretty nice gap here. And on the last lap at least, he was virtually identical lap times to Patrick, so he wasn't closing all that much. But again, I got to tip my hat to Titus. I know, he had a pretty significant incident at Mid-Ohio. Had to spend the night in the hospital after a brake failure. Sent him right off the track at a very high-speed braking zone into the keyhole turn at Mid-Ohio. But he's bounced back, first time back in the car at the racetrack at least, and he got right to the front. He's doing a great job here.
Yeah, I think a good thing about this series is that we do get a fair bit of practice. So even if you do have a little bit of a shunt in the previous race or in a practice session, you do, and they're quite long sessions as well, 20 minutes, half an hour. You do have time to be able to find your feet and get back into the groove of everything.
Top 5 cars pretty much evenly spaced. Sherlock and Woods-Toth at the front. Nico Ambiato, the fastest car on the track right now, as he's closing down on Woods-Toth. Jet Bowling and then Hayden Bowlesby not that far back in the 5th position. It's about 6 seconds back to Landon in the 73 car. As things kind of settled in here, working race lap number 6, or working 7 actually, have completed 6, but we've still got 22 minutes to go, so lots of things can happen. And the evolution of the tires. How have you guys found the tire degradation here with this new pavement? Is it worse than it was, better, about the same?
Well, I was here last year. It seems pretty similar, even with the new compound hand-cooked tires we have. I mean, obviously towards the end of the race, tires are going to start to fall off, and yeah.
Yeah, I think, obviously I haven't driven, didn't drive last year, but going to tracks like NOLA, Road America, and Mid-Ohio, I think there is a little bit more of a drop-off. You know, you can do 5, 6, 7 laps, and you might find a couple tenths drop-off, but then it's just about adapting to driving, and you can always change that with tyre pressures and how low you want to bleed them for the duration of the race.
Yeah, I realize, Brad, you weren't with us here a year ago. This being your first season with us, but KKI did race in the F4 Championship a year ago here at New Jersey. And, you know, I've been talking to drivers that have been here before and how different the track is with the repave.
Yeah, it's a lot smoother than it was last year, and the curb in Turn 1 is gone, so it makes Turn 1 a lot faster corner than it was last year. Which is
kind of a double-edged sword. It's faster, but it's harder to pass. It used to be you could get side by side through Turn 1. Now that's kind of tough.
Yeah, you're not slowing down as much going to Turn 1, so the under braking, you have to really get a good draft going down the straightaway to get fully alongside.
We're following this battle for second, which is a good one between Woods-Toth and Ambiato. Both drivers very much in the hunt for the championship. Nico is 6th in the points right now. He's got 3 podiums, still looking for his first win, but he's had 9 of the 11 races finishing in the points. Woods-Toth, of course, despite his 2 kind of troublesome races at Road America, has 4 wins and 4 other podiums, 3 fast qualifiers, as well as 6 fastest laps over the course of the racing so far this season. So Patrick certainly has shown that he's got what it takes to run at the front, but he's also shown that he's not invincible. After winning the F4 championship a year ago, taking advantage of the scholarship to step up to FR, he led the championship in the early stages. But Ryan Shehan, and you know, that's something else I want to talk about. He's your teammate, and we're all kind of bummed that Ryan wasn't able to be here this weekend, because quite frankly, it's the thing that you guys all have to chase. It's all a matter of funding, and he just didn't have the funding in line to be able to come this weekend. We're all hoping he can line something up and be with us up in Canada, but you know, it's tough to be leading the championship and not being able to continue with the season just because the funding runs out.
Yeah, it's upsetting to hear that, but Patrick, I think, just has to finish and he'll take over the lead for the championship, honestly. So he might not be pushing as hard to try and keep it with Titus, knowing that he doesn't need to win.
Yeah, he's only 23.5 points back, and Titus is quite a bit further back, obviously after missing the race at Mid-Ohio. So, you know, Patrick can afford to be, as we found in his in the F4 championship a year ago, he's not the kind of guy that's wreckers or checkers. I mean, he realizes if second is the best he's got, then he's going to take second, rather than, you know, really put an undue risk out and try to finish it in the lead in every race. And that's a bit of maturity that I think has paid well, and it's a good lesson to be learned. You don't have to win every race. You just have to, you know, stay near the front and take what the race gives you.
Yeah, that really makes a good racing driver as well. If you have a second place car, they don't push it far enough and then wreck it, and
right.
They just take the second that they can get.
Exactly right.
I think Nicole Afrida has retired. Yeah, she's out of the car in the pit lane.
Yeah, so trouble after that off-course excursion may have damaged something, or perhaps she got a little grass in the radiators and the car's overheating on her. That's one of the things that we find in these cars. If they get off course and get grass up in the radiators, the engine cooling is definitely kind of, I won't say marginal, but it's right on the edge, and they can't afford to have any debris in the radiators, and these cars will overheat in a heartbeat, especially the FR cars. They are lots of with the turbocharger, a lot of under bonnet temperature that could definitely get out of control in a hurry.
And it also seems like there is a lot of dust being kicked up, as we spoke about in the entry to the chicane on the 3A.
Yep.
So that'll that'll be something for the drivers to watch out for. That doesn't kick their car out too much and point them at the barriers in 3B too far, as you see there on the camera.
As we see the 77 of James Lawley currently running in 7th position. He's well back from Landon, about 6 seconds behind. I want to give him a little camera time. And there's your top 3, all in the same camera shot. And it appears to me that Patrick is maybe making up a little ground on Titus. As I look at the lap time on the last lap, he was a couple tenths quicker. It's about 1 second and 2 tenths, and only about half a second back to Nico Ambiato in the orange-colored car there in the 55 for 3rd. So Nico's doing what he needs to do to stay right in the hunt.
That time by Titus and Patrick almost matched times there, but Nicolas Ambiato is a tenth quicker than Patrick, so he might be closing that gap.
Yeah, it's about half a second at the line. It's about 1 second and 2 tenths between Titus and Patrick for the 1st position. And then Jed Bowling, after being a little further up front, back to the 4th position right now. Ran in 3rd position for much of the race and eventually got passed by Nico. He's not quite as quick, losing a little bit of ground now. He's about 2 seconds behind Nico in the battle for the final step on the podium. Just checking down the line to see if they've been able to get Nicole's car back together, but it looks like she's done.
Yeah, she's up and out of the car already.
And so that's a tough break for her. Nicole's had a good season. She's currently 4th in the points, only 3 behind Jet. So that's going to definitely set her back a little bit. She's got 3 podiums already. So looking for that run of good luck to continue. But we got 2 more races this weekend, so she'll bounce back. Makes me wonder as we're watching this battle between Patrick and Nico, as Titus seems relatively secure out in front, but the battle between Patrick and Nico seems to be ebbing and flowing just a little bit. And it makes me wonder if Nico's getting to the point where he gets close, but then, again, that aero wash creates a problem for him, and he can't get any closer, and he's not enough faster than Patrick that he can really afford to try to make a move here.
Yeah, especially in the Formula Regional cars, there's a lot of that dirty air we were talking about, which even in the Ligier JSF4, I was dealing with it, trying to keep up with Brad, and forced me into a mistake. So,
have either of you guys had a chance to spend any seat time in the new F4 car, the 422? It's supposedly more aerodynamically efficient. I wondered if it's a very different driving experience than
I have not been able to step foot in one yet, but Crosslink we're trying to work something out, either me getting a new F4 or a Formula Regional, just for a test day.
Brad, how about you? Have you had any seat time in the new car?
No, I haven't. Watched it, done a lot of laps. Haven't driven it yet, no.
Nico's got a run here as he makes the dive down to the inside, but Patrick does a good job of maintaining his line. Nico wasn't close enough to stuff it down in there. And he's got to watch because, like I say, that turn 2 is really tricky. They're in the chicane now in 3A and B as they head back onto the racing surface. So Nico got a great run onto the front straightaway, but just not quite close enough to close the deal.
And the thing that these two need to watch out for is that Titus may pull away. He's had a very consistent car so far this race. And so they just need to keep driving smartly so that if he does make a mistake, they can be right there to pounce on it. James
Lawley's around.
Yep, the 77 having spun. You can see the smoke coming off the tires. Gives you some indication of just how hot these tires get. As a little dampness in the grass can make that happen.
That'll move Rico up another spot. It looks like he might be stuck almost.
Yeah, he's not able to get the car moving. He may have killed it, but these cars do carry starters, so they should be able to restart. Are they hard to restart when they're hot?
No, it seems to start just as much. It's just as good as it when it's cold. Oh, he got it restarted. He's good to go.
That's great to see. Okay, James Lawley back underway. See if Rico was able to get by him, because Rico had problems of his own. If you'll remember a few laps ago, he was 21 seconds behind James.
But we can see there from that angle, you can see probably why James did spin out is there's a lot of dust going through that first section of the chicane.
Yeah. Yeah, we've noticed, like, say, not only for our classes, but there's other racing going on, FRPs here with Formula Atlantics as well as the F1600s, who just had a really great race. And we've had lots of cars off at that chicane there at turn 3.
Yeah, and that maybe Ambiato was building up his tyres, maybe conserving a little bit, while Patrick was in the dirty air of Titus to try and set up a little run. But it looks like the car of Woods-Toth, run by Glenn Higgins, is doing well.
Yeah. With 2 sets of tires for the course of the weekend, it seems logical that you would race the qualifying in the first race on a set and then put on a fresh set for the second race, but that's obviously not always the case. You've got different strategies that you could play.
Yeah, everyone has a different strategy on what their engineer thinks is best for them. I mean, if Titus is pushing this whole race, it'd probably be better for him to go new because then his tires are going to be more worn out than everyone else. But it just depends on how hard he's pushing the tire.
And I would think, especially for Nico, because he's following so close behind Patrick, he's probably doing more damage to his front tires than Patrick is, just because the car's going to be sliding more because he doesn't have as much front grip.
Yeah, well, that is a possibility, but you can also adapt your driving style to be able to square the corner off a little bit more. So if you maybe brake at the same point but turn a little bit later, so you can get on the accelerator in a straighter way, so you're not scrubbing the fronts as much on the exit when you're trying to put the power down.
Brad, you've come out of karting more recently than Kekai. What was for you the biggest adjustment coming out of go-karts into these cars?
Well, the biggest adjustment for me, I think, is just the aero transfer. If in a go-kart you might have a little slide, you can pretty much just snap the steering wheel back into where you want it to go, and the car will pretty much just fix itself. Whereas in these, once they've started to slide, especially in the JSF4, they've got quite a lot of body roll, quite a soft suspension. Once they start to slide, they can be very hard to catch because you can feel the whole weight of the car moving.
Yep.
And you don't your body weight doesn't have any influence on what's going on, really.
Right. KK, you've had the same experience, obviously, a year earlier, so I'm sure pretty much the same story for you.
Yeah, I've actually been doing some karting in between the races at I think I ran Scusa and Stars. It's a lot different because the karting, your body is pretty much suspension. You can move around in the cart and lean to get the cart to do different things. Where the cars, you have to feel everything through your hands, and there's suspension and a lot different, a lot bigger.
Yeah. I know Scott Goodyear, our race director, talks a lot to you guys about situational awareness. Is it harder to wrap your head around the fact that you've got more vehicle around you, that you're sitting right over the rear wheels in a go-kart, and here you've got a whole bunch of stuff behind your head? So is that an adjustment that was hard to make?
I think it's like anything. You struggle with it initially. You maybe leave a car length or half a car length on the outside of the white line because you're still getting used to the width, and you make a couple mistakes, but eventually, like anything, you get to grips with it, and you learn from all those mistakes that you've made.
Exactly. We've been sticking with this great battle for third spot, second and third, as it's the best battle on the racetrack by far. Just half a second separating these two at the line. But Titus Sherlock got the jump at the start, starting from second position, got the jump on his teammate, and has really been able to just pull away. But we're getting into the last third of this race with about 9 minutes to go. And this is at the point where the car handling begins to evolve a little bit. The tires are not as happy as they were at the beginning of the race. As the fuel burns off, does that change the handling of the car much?
At least in a JSF4, it doesn't change much. Mostly just the tires wearing off changes, the rear sliding or the front pushing, and it's just you have to adjust your driving and your line and everything to adjust for that. As me and Brad showed in that last race, we were still running fast times there at the end, so we're just adjusting to how the car is so we can continue doing fast times.
Nico's got a pretty good run here. Let's see if he's going to pop again down into turn one. Not quite close enough, but I think he's, doing a little guessing game here. Where's he stronger? Where is Patrick maybe a little weaker? trying to pick his spot, and they've got some traffic in front of them now as James Lawley in the 77 right in front of them. So that's going to be a factor too. How are they going to get through the traffic? Is it better to be the first car to approach the back marker, or do you hope that the leader tries to use it as a pick and that gives you an advantage to make an overtake?
I feel like it depends on the driver and how, as Scott talks about, what their situational awareness is, how often they're checking the mirrors, if they're an engineer or a mechanic or whoever's on the radio is letting them know. And they clearly were. They clearly were, because he's just done a great job of getting out of the way and not affecting the battle that we have on screen at the moment.
That's a great thing. Yeah, that's good sportsmanship on James's part, because he saw the blue flags and knew that the leaders were behind him. And like I said, don't get involved in that battle. He has nothing to gain by trying to hold them up. I think Nico's as close as he's been here coming onto the front straightaway. Let's see if this is the lap with about 7 minutes to go. Patrick has gone defensive, but not quite. Now, quite as much speed coming off of that first turn. I think he's feeling the pressure. What do you think?
Patrick's a very good driver. I don't think he's really feeling the pressure, honestly, because he can really keep himself calm and collective and not make any mistakes. I raced against him last year, and it was very difficult to, battle with him because he doesn't make any mistakes. He stays very calm and collective with his driving.
I know you guys on the Crosslink Kiwi team, it's obviously the biggest team in the paddock. You've got more cars than anybody else. You've got a lot of data that you can share with your teammates. Do you find that overwhelming at times, or is it just a big help? The more data traces you can use and the more conversations you can have with your teammates, does it help you, or is it a hindrance?
It definitely helps, because me and Brad are both very quick here this weekend, and we can share each other's data, see where he's better than I am and where I'm better than him at, and especially just Crosslink Kiwi being in this series for so long with these same cars. They know the setup in and out, they know the car in and out, they know exactly what to do for what the car is doing.
Do you guys share an engineer, or do you have different engineering teams?
So we share the engineer. Sometimes it's not the same engineer for every race, as we do have quite a few mechanics and engineers coming abroad from Europe, and they obviously have to leave their duties and families and make the trip across the Atlantic. But we do normally have say an engineer per 2-3 cars.
And Brad, how much traveling do you have to do? Are you back and forth to Australia, between every race meeting, or do you spend more time here on this side of the pond?
So I'm back and forth. I still go to school physically, so I do need to be home pretty much whenever I can, and because there is a good 5-6 week break between every race, I am able to go home, go to school, get back into the groove, see friends and family, and catch up with them all. Between Mid-Ohio and New Jersey, I have stayed here, and just to be around the team, see what it's like, to learn, and see how the cars are maintained, see how they run, and do some extra laps where my competitors possibly aren't. So I've been over for a while. I'm looking forward to going home to my family, but if I can stitch together another 2 races, it'd be a nice present for my siblings to bring home.
Yeah, absolutely right. Getting down to the closing stages here, just under 4 minutes remaining. And the battle for second is the one we've been following. And while that's been going on, Jed Bowling is kind of creeping back into the frame here. He's about 2.5 seconds behind this battle between Patrick Woods-Toth and Nico Ambiato. And another shot of Landon Montriano-Lim. Just to give a shout out to Landon. We haven't talked much about the other competitors on the track because, frankly, they're spread out just a bit. Hayden Bowlesby in 5th is about 7 seconds behind Jet. Landon's some 18 seconds behind Hayden. Rico Sloman, after stalling at the start, has taken advantage of the problems for James Lawley, and of course Nicole having to withdraw with a car problem of some kind. So the battle that we've been watching is the best one, and we're getting down to the time where it's going to be a decision on Nico's part. Does he take an undue risk and try to get that second spot, or does he take the more conservative move and take the third place finish and live to fight another day? That risk-reward calculation is one that every driver has to make multiple times over the course of of any given race and a race season, of course. We've already talked about how level-headed Patrick is and taking what the race will give him.
I don't think if Nico starts battling quite aggressively, I don't think Patrick, just because of how he said he's very level-headed, I don't think he'll try and battle back. I think he'll just stick with the third, just because of where he's at in the championship.
Right. Yeah, if this was the last race of the season, it might be different. But we've still got 6 more races to go. Well, actually, we got 9 more races to go for this championship, as we're heading up to Mosport after this weekend, and then everybody will be together at COTA for the season finale. I'm guessing we will see the white flag next time by, as we've crossed the line with about 1 minute and 45 seconds left. And lap times are in the teens, the 1 teens, so should see the white flag indicating 1 lap to go. And I think Patrick has solidified his hold on that second spot, at least for the moment. There's the 25 car of Rico Slauman in 7th position. Rico, another one of your teammates. Rico's kind of an interesting story. He raced with us in the F4 championship back in 2018, and then basically was away from motor racing for a long time, and now he's back and jumped into the FR car. He's having an interesting season for sure, but he's had his share of success. He's been in the points 8 races out of the 11 we've had so far. His best finish an 8th, so he will be one better than his best finish so far. As Titus appears to have taken it easy a little bit on this last lap, as it looks like these two are a little closer to him, but I think he's just doing what he needs to do, as the white flag is indeed being displayed. Titus Sherlock has led from the drop of the out of the lights, if you will, and has never been headed. And the best battle's been the one just behind him for 2nd and 3rd. I think Nico's going to make one last little challenge here and see if he's got anything. A little dust getting kicked up by Titus is going to make it a little tougher for the 2 following. Beato's as close as he's been now as they make the run down toward turn 5. As they've got lap traffic in front of them. Titus Sherlock in command here on the final lap. Nico closing right up on the gearbox of Patrick Woods-Toth. As they're exiting, heading toward turn 7 now. That's 6, now into 7.
We'll see if he tries to go into this. Yeah, he's going down the inside.
There he goes down the inside, and Patrick's going to fight back, but I think you hit it right on the head. Patrick drops a couple wheels off, and I think he realizes, okay, let him have it. All I need to do is keep my nose clean, finish as high as possible. And
yeah, no point in wrecking the car and not getting any points.
Yeah, exactly right.
Settling for 3rd.
So good on Nico Ambiato as the checker flag comes out. Titus Sherlock's going to take the win. Nico comes home in 2nd. Patrick has to settle for 3rd. Jet Bowling across the line in 4th. Hayden Bowlesby a distant 5th. As there's James Lawley in the 77. He's had an eventful race, but he'll still finish in the points in 8th spot. As he comes across a lap down in that 8th position.
And here comes Landon for P6.
Yep. Landon Montrano-Lynn finishing in the 6th spot. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate your expert commentary. And
thank you for having us.
Best of luck tomorrow in races number 2 and 3.
Thanks, you.
Have a good one. Thanks, Brad. I'm going to head down to the podium and talk to our top 3 finishers. So congratulations to Titus Sherlock, notching his 3rd win on the season and closing the points battle down just a bit. Nico Ambiato looking for his best finish on the season. He had a 2nd at Mid-Ohio, and now he's backed it up with a 2nd place here. And Patrick Woods-Toth, continuing his consistency, is going to be closing that points gap down to Ryan Shehan, and by the end of the weekend may well be our new points leader. I'll talk to you on the podium.
Summit Point Speed Tour returns to Summit Point August 16th through the 18th, featuring the Sports Car Vintage Racing Association, Formula Race Promotions, and Optima's search for the ultimate street car. Saturday, you can take part in the Haggerty Cars and Caffeine Car Show with Parade Lab. You do not want to miss the Summit Point Speed Tour August 16th through the 18th. Advanced ticket discounts available. Children 12 and under are free. For tickets, simply go to speedtour.net. The Mission Foods Watkins Glen Speed Tour returns to Watkins Glen International August 23rd through the 25th, featuring the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, the Cube 3 Architecture TA2 Series, the Hilliard US Vintage Grand Prix with the Sports Car Vintage Racing Association, International GT, Prototype Sprint Series Association. You do not want to miss the Mission Foods Watkins Glen Speed Tour August 23rd through the 25th. For tickets, simply go to speedtour.net.
Let's get our podium celebration started, bringing up our third place finisher. Closing down on the points lead once again is Patrick Woods-Toth, ladies and gentlemen. As you are wont to do, a very measured race. Well done.
Yeah, I just want to start off by thanking the team. I think we had almost every single mechanic working on my car today after my crash in the qualifying. I'm just glad we got to start the race at all. Coming away with a podium is just a bonus. Yeah, just good job to the team, and thank you.
I was just going to ask you, are you okay? That was a pretty heavy hit.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the safest race cars you can drive, so honestly, I barely even felt it. It was the car that took all the damage.
Indeed. Well, thanks for thanking your team. I appreciate it. Anybody else you'd like to thank?
Yeah, of course. Ron Fellows, Orlando, FSMQ, and yeah, just the team. I mean, can't do it without them.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Patrick Woods-Toth, your third place finisher, closing down on that points lead. Are we good? We're going to hang on 1 second here. Just rearranging one of our cars here before we carry on with our podium celebration. Thank you for your patience. Let's bring up our second place finisher, a second place finish for the second race in a row, Nico Ambiato. Nico, congratulations. Well done, especially on that last lap pass.
Yeah, thank you. It's a very difficult race. I didn't have a good start, but I need to take faster the third position. Patrick and Titus is very fast in the same laps. I need to thank my family, my sponsors, my Leaky Molly, same, obviously SpeedTour and everyone.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Second place finish for Nico Ambiato, ladies and gentlemen. And now, after coming back after kind of a scary crash in Mid-Ohio, what better way than to put it on top of the box? Titus Sherlock, your winner. I'm going to jump up here because Titus is a lot taller than I am. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The start was all what really set the pace for the race. You got a good jump on your teammate, and you know they were battling behind you. So I'm sure that made you happy to give you a chance to get away a little bit.
Yeah, it's a hard track to overtake on, so I knew once I got the lead I had a pretty good chance. I just tried to do the most consistent laps I can and try to save my tires for a better day. And yeah, I can't thank the whole team enough. Everyone that supports me, my uncle, everyone that comes out to the races, my family at home, and yeah, I just can't thank everyone enough. Thank you to my teammates for pushing me on after the big Mid-Ohio crash, and yeah, that's it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Titus Sherlock atop the box, ladies and gentlemen. Ligier hats on all three of our drivers as we get our first round of photographs to acknowledge our sponsors. Now let's bring out Mountoon, the team that puts the power plants together for these FR cars. Mountoon does a great job of maintaining these engines and keeping them running in the back of all these cars, especially on a hot day like this. The engines definitely earn their pay for sure. Thanks to Mountoon for the great work they do, keeping the cars healthy and on point. Hankook, of course, the other supplier that provides the rubber for all three of our race series. On a hot day like this, on a track with brand new pavement, these Hankook slicks definitely earn their money. All right, time for me to get out of the way and time for a little bit of celebration. Let's hear it for Patrick Woods-Toth, Nico Ambiato, and your winner, Titus Sherlock. Thanks, guys.
Congratulations, guys. Now we got to flip. Yeah, Bob should be over here in a
We're here today to help these young drivers learn how to present themselves in the most positive way possible. I think they need to grow their personal brands. They're very young, they're just starting out in their careers, and they need to let the media, fans, potential sponsors, let them know who they are. They are the CEOs of their own personal brands, and they need to get the important key pillars of their brand out. And the way to do that nowadays is through mainstream interviews, but also social media posts. It's vitally important. And what I try to teach them is to play offense with that responsibility. So of course, don't do anything that's gonna harm you and harm your reputation, but also to play offense. And how do you gain sponsors? How do you gain fans? And how do you gain likability? But the key is knowing what to post. Pictures and videos that show them doing positive things in the community, to show their passion for their sport, in this case racing, to show their love of and appreciation for the fans is extremely important. And they have an advantage because they grew up with social media. And I think with a little bit of coaching and their knowledge of the different platforms, I think it could be a home run. What they need is the same thing all young people need, which is reps. They need experience. They need to do it over and over and over again, because then you get to be more comfortable. You develop self-confidence, and the key to doing a good interview is self-confidence and making it a conversation as opposed to a Q&A session. And that comes by one way, which is reps.
You know, the real neat thing about the racing series that we have is that we have 3 levels, and we call it the ladder system for drivers to be able to learn the profession of driving a car. A lot of these drivers come out of go-karts and come into our JSF4 car, which is an entry-level car, 160 horsepower, about 125, 130 miles an hour, and they get to learn the craft of driving a race car, which is really cool. It's a car that is very forgiving, a car that they can go out there, and if they do go off track, it's not really going to harm the car. They get a chance to get back on. And most importantly is it's very reliable. So with that, they get to log miles, and be able to log miles gives you an experience to be able to move up to the next level of car, which is our new F4 car. It's called the F4 US Championship car. And that car is a perfect car for drivers that are very serious about trying to learn their craft to be able to move up to the next level and try and make racing as a profession. And this car has a lot more top speed, about 140 miles an hour. It looks like a small F1 car because it has the halo on it, and the car is very fast, very reliable, has a really neat V4 engine which makes a great sound. You can hear that in the background right now because that's what's out on the racetrack. I really get excited when I hear about it because it really tells you that the car is going fast and makes a lot of horsepower. A lot of downforce. The car is very, very nice to drive. Drivers are telling me it's very refined from our very early car that we had, the Gen 1 car. So this Gen 2 F4 US car is really cool to drive. And then when you move up to the top step, and it's our FR Championship car, FR Americas. And really it's an F3 car from Europe, and we call it Formula Regional Americas. And this is the last step that we have, and the drivers that leave us after this step generally move into what they call the Indy Next Series, and that's the series that's just below the Indy cars. So their goal is to get into that series or maybe head to Europe to try and do Formula 2. Either way, it's a great car for training. It's got just over 300 horsepower, a lot of downforce, a lot of grip, and it teaches them the art of being able to drive the car hard into the turn, get through the center of the turn, make sure they can come out very quickly, and the art of driving something that is right on the very edge, which is very important for these drivers to learn. So the 3 steps that we have in the series that we have here is a great training ground for up-and-coming drivers.
Hi, my name is Mo Murray. I'm the CEO of Ligier Automotive North America, and I'm here to walk you through the SVRA open wheel ladder system that's comprised of the Ligier JSF4 series, USF4, and the Formula Regional Americas series. So to start us off, I'm here with the Ligier JSF416. The 16 means this car was developed in 2016. It was the original F4 concept car, carbon fiber monocoque tub like most modern cars, small wing on the front and back, moderate aero support, double wishbone suspension. But the thing you'll notice about this car, because they didn't exist back in those days, is no halo. So this was the last car that was built without a FIA certified halo. It's a very competent car, a very, very fun car to drive, lots of young drivers in it. You can start in this series at age 14. Car has a Honda or a Mountune engine in the back. It's a 2-liter normally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, makes about 160 horsepower, and that was the original F4 car for many, many years. It was replaced in this year, 2024, by the new Ligier JSF422. So let's go take a look at one of those. So now we jump forward to 2024 and the newest iteration of an F4 car here in the US. This is the Ligier JS422. This example is driven by Nicola Stati, our current points leader. So this is a more modern version of the car we just saw. Still a monocoque tub. Again, a little more downforce help on the front and rear than the original F4 we saw, but still reasonably moderate. This one comes with a really interesting engine in the back. It's a V4 pushrod engine. It's called a Ligier Storm. It's a very interesting engine. Makes about 180 horsepower, so 20 more than the first car we saw. And per lap, per mile of racetrack, this car is about 1 second faster than the original JSF4. So around here, maybe 3 or 4 seconds a lap faster, makes 180 horsepower. This one, modern race car, comes with a full FIA certified halo, Xylon panels on the side, and every conceivable safety requirement that the FIA mandates around race cars for young drivers. You can start driving in this series at age 15. This young man, Nicola Stati, is just that, 15 years old. Very, very impressive. In the back, of course, the V4 engine, moderate wing on the back. Tires are a little bigger, makes a moderate downforce help on this car. So you've stepped as a 14-year-old in the original JSF4, now 15 years old into the JSF 422. And when you get to be 16 years old, you can step up to the F4 America's car, which is a proper race car. Let's go take a look at one of those. All right, so now the top of the ladder that we've talked about is Formula Regional Americas. It's equivalent throughout the world to a Formula 3 car. This example is driven by one of the fastest young women in motorsports, Nicole Havre from Canada. I think I said that name right. And she's one of our Formula Regional Americas drivers. She drives this Ligier JS318, F318 Formula Regional car. Again, same construction, carbon fiber tub. This one has carbon fiber wings, little more downforce, in fact quite a bit more downforce on the front and rear of this car. Comes with the halo and the Xylon panels, all the latest FIA certified safety requirements. This one has that same Honda engine, the 2-liter inline-4 engine that we saw in the first car, but this one's turbocharged. This makes about 300 horsepower, and again, it's probably another 5 seconds per lap faster than the JS422, the US Formula 4 car. Very, very powerful car, very important car in the ladder system for drivers as they climb the ladder. Lots of downforce help, bigger tires, more electronics. This is a proper race car, and to drive one of these quickly, you kind of have to know what you're doing. So that's the ladder system. Ligier JSF4 up to US 422 or USF4, and then US Formula Regional Americas with the Ligier JS318.
We're here today to help these young drivers learn how to present themselves in the most positive way possible. I think they need to grow their personal brands. They're very young, they're just starting out in their careers, and they need to let the media, fans, potential sponsors, let them know who they are. They are the CEOs of their own personal brands, and they need to get the important key pillars of their brand out. And the way to do that nowadays is